Hi guys, and welcome to another week of English Practice 2 with me, your teacher, Claudia Tuba. And I've changed location just to brighten things, to change things up a little bit. Today we're focusing on storytelling and how to use storytelling to get something good from our students, to make it worthwhile. So we're going to be taking a look at mental text, and this is in the context of storytelling. So let's go. Now, what is a mental text? And I've given you a definition here. It's written pieces, and it can be anything. It can be a traditional story, it can be an article, it can be a poem, it can be a song, anything, right? But it really works well with storytelling. After you read a story, after the kids learn a story, it's really good to use this kind of methods to get something good from it. So it's written pieces that serve as an example of good writing for student writers. The texts are read for the purpose of studying the author's craft or the way the author uses words and the structures the writing. The goal is to provide students a model they can emulate in crafting their own piece. All right, let's get into it. This is an example of a mental text. It's just a short story. It's a true story. Now, I really like this kind of story because there's so many things that you can discuss with your kids. When I was doing this with my students, a lot of them asked, what is 150,000? What does that look like in Korean won? And that was a moment for them, okay, go on your phones. So many of them have phones. Research or search up, convert 150,000 to Korean won. And when they did that, some of them were like, that's how much money there is. There's an opportunity to talk about family trees because there's Olga, the niece. So we can talk about niece and nephew and all these kinds of names and things like that. And what's really interesting is in Korea, there's different types of names. I can't remember what the list is, but they have different types of names for different types of family members, which is a little bit different to English. And so again, there's an opportunity to talk about that, to ask them if they are a niece, if they have an aunt or they have an uncle. So there's an opportunity to talk. And then also there's an opportunity to write an authentic piece as to what they would do if they were the judge. What they would do if they were the judge. Or you can ask them, have you ever been in this kind of situation where you have maybe two friends, they're arguing, no, it's mine, no, it's mine. What did you do? Or did you ever have a really difficult decision or choice to make? What did you do? So you can build it up that way. Here's a little bit of an easier story. This is from the Let's Go, I think it's level 5 book. This is at the end of the unit where they're talking about comparatives and superlatives. And they have basically a little, I guess, it's not so much a story, but more like facts about animals. But I still consider it a little bit of a story like, or a text. And what I did to personalize this for my students, we actually did a competition day. I had different challenges for them, like the fastest runner in the class, the who can jump the tallest. So we have I'm taller than all of my kids. And so I could reach the ceiling in the room because it's quite a short ceiling. So I was like, who can beat me at reaching the ceiling? And everybody joined in. It was a lot of fun. So that's how we personalized it. So we experienced it, challenged ourselves to see who was the best in different categories, who can blow the biggest balloon, all of these things. And then the plan is for them to write about that day, just like this, to use this kind of language to be able to write about that day. Here's another piece of text, which is even more simpler. Here's a dialogue. Again, this is from the Let's Go book. This is from the same chapter as this text here. Okay, here's an even easier piece of text, all right, that can work as a mental text. Peg is a red hen. That's it. Super easy, right? So you got 3 examples. You've got a piece of story which, has a few paragraphs. You've got a text from your normal textbook, you've got a dialogue, and then you've just got a one sentence story. Or a very short kind of, it deals with 3-letter words. It's a story that deals with 3-letter words. Okay, so why is it good? I think I may have already mentioned the positives or the good things about this kind of method. It gives an opportunity for your students to write meaningful text. And this is really important because you'll see, if you teach in Korea, a lot of our students don't really know why they're studying English or why they should study English. It kind of, if you think about it, English and their actual lives, there's no match until maybe they are older and they're able to understand how important English is in this country. To get a good job, to get into a good university, English is quite crucial. But everyday use of English in their world, it's not there. It's not there. I think English is so detached from everyday Korean life. You know, not many people speak it at home. Maybe there's some movies, especially big Marvel movies, or there's some things that are done, or there's some English that does appear in Korean life, but on a day-to-day basis, I don't think that Korean people are like consuming a lot of English content. And so what you will find is that a lot of students are just not interested. They don't see the point. I remember one student was like, but why do I have to speak English? I don't get it. Like, if you think about it, the whole life is in Korean, and then they have to learn this language, and then they're being told it's really important. So there's not much of a connection. But when you personalize it, when you make it meaningful, that's when it kind of clicks. It kind of helps your students. I think it's also a good way to teach key features of English. You know, you can talk about grammar, but unless the student is constantly using it, writing about it, speaking about it, it won't quite click. They'll have the knowledge of it, but they still won't know how to use it. And it's an easier way to teach these hard concepts instead of just standing up and lecturing them about it. You can also focus on key problems that your students have. For example, here in Korea, plurals are a big problem, capitals are a big problem, an and the articles are a big problem, but through constant use and writing, your students will get better. Just like anything else, the more you use it, the more you become better, if you use it correctly. And also, you may be surprised at the responses you get from your students. They may actually, catch you off guard. With my students, we took a look at this story from the same booklet. The reason why I liked it is because it really did help us to write lots of stories. But we just looked at the little portion here that's circled. Are you a young woman? Do you want to marry a handsome young Swede? Please write me, Ake Viking. So we read the whole story. We did the comprehension questions about it. And then I asked the students, you write to a stranger, write a letter, and then I'm gonna give it to somebody that you don't know, and then you're gonna get a response back. So my students did that exactly. So I have a letter here from my student Yesu, Song Yesu, and she writes, and now let me read it first, and then I'll tell you a little bit about her. She says, "Hello, nice to meet you. How are you? First, I'll tell you about me. I got confused. Ha 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 ha. My name is Song Yesu. I am 13 years old. I like to sing a song. My favorite song is White Style of Kisan. And I have one younger brother, mommy and daddy. I have a good family. I love my family," with a little heart. How about you? Do you have a brother or sister? What is your name? And what your favorite color or food? Please tell me about you. Bye. You guys, well, students at CNU, my university students, and this is the response that she got. Hello Yesul, my name is Kyungso. I love my family, just like you. I have an older brother, but I want to have a younger brother. My favorite color is green and I love mushroom. It's so delicious. Do you like mushroom? And I heard the song White Style. It's very good. Thank you to recommend the song by Nat Kyung-soo. Now, what I did is I did not edit any of the writings because I wanted the students to get the literal response from their seniors, from students at CNUE. And as I'm reading it out, I'm sure you guys can see that there are some mistakes there. And what I find mostly is that people don't check their work, which is a shame. It's a shame. And let's move on. The next letter was from a student called Junu. And Junu is really special. He lived in the Philippines for a while. He was in the 4th grade, but he was in an after-school class with 5th and 6th grade because his level was pretty high. And he wrote, hello, nice to meet you. How are you? About me. My name is Junu and my age is 11 years old. My birthday is October 16th. How old are you? What's your name? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite country? Do you have a pet? Do you have a brother? Where is your hometown? Where is your family? Goodbye. And then I was like, Junu, you can do better than that. Can you actually ask some more interesting questions? And at the back he wrote, I have 2 pets, a dog and a cat. My dog's name is Cloud and my cat's name is Love. They live in my grandmother's house. And he got this response. Hi Junu, I'm Minsu. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Oh, you are 11 years old? I'm 24 years old. I loved fried chicken because it's crispy. My favorite country is Korea. I do have a pet, a poodle, but I don't have any brothers. I am alone. My hometown is Wonju. Have you been there? My family lives in Donghae, which is far from Chuncheon. Oh, you raise a cat and a dog? Cloud and Love? I think it's a great name. I also raise a dog, and it's a brown poodle. Do you like poodles? I hope you raise a poodle someday. They are so lovely. Merry Christmas, Junu. Bye-bye, right? And it was really nice. The students were surprised to get some response. And I think this is so much more meaningful than just reading the story and moving on. Read the story, learn about the vocabulary, understand, the deeper meanings behind it, and then apply it to their real lives. Connect English to their real lives. Now, these were some of the better ones that I got. Not all of them were that good. One of them I got here is from just one of my favorite students, Jin Sung. He struggled a lot with his writing and reading. He was a great communicator. He found it easier to talk in English than to do other things. And he just wrote, hi, I'm Chocolate. Do you know BTS? BTS is Korea. Korea in Korea. Korea is so good. And what are your name? And what you like food? And what you like book? Do you know Claudia? Claudia is good. Chocolate. So I get like all different types of level. I don't mind this. I quite think this is hilarious. And I don't mind. He's writing, he's communicating. That's enough for me. Okay, now how do you do this? How did I manage to get these wonderful writings from my students? All authentic, brilliantly written, some with better structure than others. How did I manage to do this? Well, number one, work with what you have. Work with the material that you have and keep to your students' levels. Before you start writing, you need to do the groundwork. Your students have to have a good understanding of the story. So a little bit of an example here. You deal with the vocabulary, and then you deal with the comprehension, the understanding of the story. And you can do a bit of practice writing of a topic related to the story, but it's not necessary. Just make sure your students have a great understanding of the story. They understand the context. They are familiar with the vocabulary. And then they've done comprehension activities, and they can summarize the text to you. So they can tell you back the story, what happened in the story. That will give you a good indication that they kind of know a little bit about the story. And this cannot be done in just one lesson. You can take longer. You can see this as, you read the story 1 week, you do the comprehension another week, and then the following week you try to summarize it, and then you start writing about it. So take a look at a whole month to do this. And this is what we do. Now, to get my students to be able to write this is how we analyze the text. And we do this as a whole class. First of all, in different colors, and it's really important that you use different colors. It has to be color coded for this to work. We mark the different types of sentences in the story. Anything that stands out to the students, right? And it's really important, get your students involved and let them identify the different parts of the story. Otherwise, it's you lecturing again. So things that they can look out for is questions, dialogue, explanations, and then just parts of speech, adjective, exclamation marks, nouns, just different things. You can just get them to mark whatever stands out to them. And then the next step is you rewrite the text as a class. And then once you've done that, then you get your students to do their own. So before my students could write this on their own, we did our own one as a class first. We did an example version as a class first. So the things that I would look out for in this letter, I told them about the structure. I said, look over here. He signed his name, right? The writer writes their name. And then this was too short and it didn't have all the parts of a letter. So I actually showed them a real letter, what a real letter looks like in English. And here you go. Here's what a real letter in English looks like. You have, and I've just simplified it for the students so we didn't worry too much about the top, but you have a greeting. So you have a dear somebody or hi or hello. And then you have the body and then you sign it off somehow, but I just told them say goodbye and then you write your name. You sign it off, you write your name. So I told them, we talked about in our class, we discussed the structure of a letter. And then I asked them, what do you see? What do you see in the letter? What is the writer writing about? Or what kind of sentences do you see? And thankfully they all said questions. So I was like, that's what we've got to do as well. We've got to write a letter to someone we don't know, and we've got to ask many questions. And we brainstormed the different types of questions that we can ask someone on when we first write to them. All right, so here's another example, and this I got from a YouTube channel called Teaching with No Frills. I was gonna say thrills. Yeah, Teaching with No Frills. So let's go back. That's another website or another channel I want to show you.
Writing a personal narrative.
But yeah, Teaching with No Frills. It's a really great YouTube channel for writing. It really helped when I was doing this with my students because it gave really great, clear steps that my students and I could both follow, because writing wasn't really my forte. It wasn't really the thing that I was really good at, so I needed help as well as my students. So we followed that. This was a story from there. I wrote it up, and then with my students we analyzed it. We marked the different parts of the text. So we realized that the first sentence was a question, and not only that, but it was a have you ever question. So I asked the students, make sure you start with a have you ever question. The next part, it was a little bit hard to kind of label this, but we labeled this as a general, the person is explaining what has happened. So they start off with a have you ever question, and then they do some explaining, telling us what happened. And then the last sentence, we all agreed that it felt like it was a feeling. They were expressing how they felt. So it sounded like this. Have you ever felt so happy you could cry? That's how I felt last summer when my mom told me I could get a dog. I wanted a dog for so long. I couldn't believe I was finally going to get one. So I asked them to mimic this 3 steps: a question, explanation, feeling. So let's see how they did. Well, we did one together. This was the classroom version. So we had the best concert ever. Have you ever been to a K-pop concert? I went to the best one ever and it was free. It was in Chuncheon and many bands were playing. I was thrilled because it was my first time going to a concert in Korea. So this was actually my experience and it was a true experience. And that's what's really important. Make sure that your students write true experiences. I think it's more meaningful when the experience is real rather than made up. These were what my students came up with. We had one person who talked about a study planner. So the thing that I asked my students, you've got to write a true story about a time you felt really happy. You got something and it was really amazing, or you had a great experience. Write about that. So they did what I asked. Question: have you ever bought a study planner? Explanation: my mom bought a study planner for me, so I was very happy. On September 2020, the 13th of September 2020. And that was really a good part because later on I explained to the students that in English we write the date differently. We start off with day, month, and then year. The study planner came to me. I was so excited. I said thank you to my mom. The study planner was nice. My friends and I have same planner. We were very happy, feeling, and great. If you want a plan, you should buy a study planner. It will be nice, right? So this student was a little bit, I think she was just such a good student and she wanted to express more. So she added in a little bit more feelings and a little bit more explanations, which was fantastic. Another one, have you been to Jeju Island? I've been to Jeju Island. My family went to Jeju Island for summer vacation. I traveled for 3 nights and 4 days. While traveling, I went to the sea and saw many things. I want to go to Jeju Island again. So you can see those 3 parts: question, explanation, feeling. All right, and that pretty much sums up this session. Where I got a lot of these ideas or a lot of guidance when I was doing these lessons. Like I mentioned, teaching without frills. I also like the New York Times. They have tons of mentor text. Now this is geared towards high school students in Western speaking countries, but I really did love their ideas. They have a lot of different, they kind of, the questions that they were asking or the type of text that they gave were a really good start, a beginning, If you run out of ideas of what to talk about or to write about with your students, check it out. I think it's just inspirational. Starful.com, I mentioned it last week. This is for really beginners when they're starting to read. It's a great website that you can use for simple stuff. Kids English Theatre, a really great channel just for storytelling, especially using drama. Oops, where is it? Using drama. Okay.
Hi, I'm Miranda and welcome to Kids English Theatre's book club.
Alright, and she does lots of storytelling and she shows you how you can use drama, props to do that. So check out her page as well. Okay. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope this video was really helpful to you. I hope it inspires you to get your kids writing. If you want to know a little bit more and you have any questions to ask me, I know I kind of rambled and ran through this, but if you do have any questions, I'm always here to help. And I can say doing this was so worthwhile. I actually started to make a book, a collection of all my students' work to put into a book and to publish on Amazon, but I ended up switching jobs in the middle of the year and never really finished it. But what I found is the more you get your students to write, it's actually a really great way to showcase their talents and to show their parents how well they're doing at the end of the year. So yeah, get your students to write a story after every unit, and at the end of the year, make it into a massive booklet. So I hope you enjoy it. Please show me some love by liking the video and sharing it with your friends. And yeah, comments as well. Just get in touch. Thank you very much. Bye bye.